Justice League of America's Vibe, written by Andrew Kreisberg and Jeff Johns, art by Pete Woods and Andre Guinaldo. So last issue was just kind of the setup to getting Cisco on the team, and then this issue is pretty much first adventure. So we see in Michigan, portal opens up, Breacher comes through, and seems to be a generally creepy-looking predator-esque alien, but we don't actually see him attack this homeless man here, which is important later. So then we cut to Cisco talking to his brother Dante, and basically Dante's saying, like, here's the thing, I think that you're included on this team as, like, the meat puppet. Like, they're just going to push you to the front lines, you'll get knocked aside, and that'll give them enough time to get their act together. And he's like, thanks, that's really helpful, Dante. Thank you for that. And he also makes fun of his costume, being like, did you have any input on this? Because, like, the glasses, it looks like you're trying too hard. And he's like, I don't know. I'm just doing what they tell me to do. I'm not doing all that much. And at this point, we see that Waller and his Agent Gunn, are watching him through the glasses. And he's like, he's already given up a secret identity to his brother. Get in there and stop him. And Gunn's like, yeah, no, totally, got it. So we see a thing, I think this was in Justice League of America 1, where there's a store owner who's screaming for help that he just got robbed. And mind you, it goes from day to night here, like instantaneously. So, But regardless, he chases down the guy who robbed the store owner. Turns out it's like an 8-year-old who stole some chocolate bars. And he's like, geez, okay, now, kid, keep the candy. I'll pay for it. This is embarrassing. So his brother's giving him a hard time for using his powers to take down an 8-year-old. And he's just like, I don't know. Maybe, I guess they see something in you that neither of us can see. But there's something at the very least. And then Agent Gunn steps up and he's like, hey, you just used your powers to take out an 8-year-old, and also you're telling your brother all your secrets. Could you maybe, like, not be a total embarrassment for, like, 5 seconds? And he's like, you have this huge power set that you barely can comprehend your ability to. Like, the Earth is under constant threat from aliens, and everyone else they got it. They know to keep their secret identity secret. Why don't you? And at that point, Cisco's like, hey, he's cool. He's not going to tell anybody. He's like, I'm not the one you need to convince of that. I have bosses, and they're your bosses too. So at that point, he straight up asks Agent Gunn, like, why does the JLA want me? And he's like, you have the power no one else does. Now go home. You're going to meet him tomorrow. So then we cut back to the alien, and we see him just walking down the streets. He's scaring everybody nearby. He's speaking in an alien tongue nobody can understand, but he sees these weapons and stuff like that on TV, and he seems to be very angry at Argus for some reason. So then we cut back to Cisco's home. He's doing his investigation on, like, people who might be in the JLA, hoping that he can figure out, like, who he's going to deal with. He thinks, like, oh, maybe Hawkman will be there. I think Aquaman's busy on the main team, but, you know, and Dante's just throwing up, like, better names than Vibe. He's like, how about, like, Soundstorm or Metallo or something like that? And he's like, I think those are taken already. So at that point, their father walks in and is basically asking what they're doing. And Cisco finally gets the gripe of, like, oh, right, don't tell people about my secret stuff. But as his dad is basically asking them how their day was and everything that's going on, like, hey, you guys, we're the only family we have. We need to be there for each other. Cisco starts getting a little migraine, meaning that he senses a breach nearby, which he's able to immediately trace down to a few blocks away where some cops are opening fire on the breacher. And he just uses some telekinetic ability, waves it away. It's no big deal. And then he teleports right behind the cops, to which when Argus and Cisco get there, they see one of the cops has been knocked out, but the other one's missing. And Cisco uses his powers to see that the alien is turned invisible, and he's up on the side of the wall nearby. So Agent Gunn tells him, like, okay, go, deal with it. And he's like, I can't fly. He's up there. And he's like, you have no idea what you can do. Give it a shot. And he's like, all right, here's a different idea. And he uses his powers to basically break a street lamp so that he can use it to climb his way up onto the roof And when he gets up there, he sees the alien. The alien goes to attack him. Cisco uses his light powers to blind the alien for a second. He's like, all right, stay down or I'm gonna really mess you up. And the alien just surrenders. He's like, oh no, I'm done. And he takes off his mask and we see that he's like a sad looking alien. And he pulls out a scroll in a foreign language that he can't read, passes it over to Vibe. And then Agent Gunn comes up out of nowhere and shoots the alien, seemingly to kill. And Vibe's like, no, he was peaceful. He was surrendering. Why'd you shoot him? And he's just like, oh, there's no such thing as a peaceful alien. He was going to shoot people, or he was going to attack people. So Gunn takes the scroll and he picks it up. He's like, oh, I can read this. This is a declaration of war. You just saved the world, kid. And he's like, oh, cool. Awesome. Fantastic. So then we cut back over to the circus, which is where all those people are held, by Amanda Waller, and she is the scroll now. And it turns out the scroll is actually written for one of the people who was held here. And it's a letter basically saying, hey, we would like you to come home. We want you to, take up your place as rightful heir of our realm. And turns out that it was written for a prisoner named Gypsy, who we saw last issue. And Waller's like, here's what you're going to do. You're going to write a letter back. You're going to say you're fine, but you're not coming back home. And you're not going to mention anything about this. And Gypsy's like, why should I? And he's just like, well, I can make your time here a hell of a lot worse. And Gypsy's pissed off about it, saying like, oh, take me out of here. I want out, whatever. And the man's like, nope, sorry. You're a threat to our dimensional fabric of reality or whatever. So then we cut to inside the press conference room where Vibe's going to meet the rest of the JLA, and he's on the phone with his brother. And this is actually like line for line exactly what was in Justice League of America #1 or #2, and basically saying like, yeah, I got here 30 minutes early. I just hoping that the team likes me, but I'd be anything but be a sucky Justice Leaguer. So we see the press conference they have to give with the president, and he like has a little snicker with Stargirl saying like, oh, if only my brother could see me now. And Trevor's like, don't talk when you're in line. Dude, come on, man. Act like an adult. And he hops on the line with Waller and basically says like, this guy, are you sure about this kid? He's not seemed like he's superhero material yet. And Waller's like, yeah, he's not. He's supposed to be like the guy who deals with the Flash. He's clearly not on Flash's level yet. How about we put him up against something a little less experienced? And we see an image of Kid Flash from Teen Titans. And I guess that's what we're going to put Vibe up against for right now. It's an okay issue. It's weird to me that this is happening coinciding like issue for issue with JLA in general, because this is exactly what was happening in this week's issue of JLA as well. So overall, it's a fine enough thing. We are building up more that this is more the fact of a naive superhero, someone who's being pointed by a government entity who he thinks is in the right, but obviously is doing some shady crap in the background. So I like that. I think it's an interesting idea for a book. Art-wise, okay, not the best. Writing, it has its moments, but in general, it's weird that it is the exact lines used in the other book, which makes sense because I'm sure that's what Jeff Johns wrote, but like there's no deviation. So like 4 or 5 pages from this book I already read prior to reading this issue. So I'm going to give this one a 6.5. It's okay, not great, just kind of an average book. It still feels like it's feeling out its footing, and I don't think it's quite figured out what it wants to be yet. And hopefully you can get there before it gets canceled, because Lord knows this book did not last very long.